Heyo, it's OmniDog here. Thanks for tuning in. I have a book that I'd like to recommend to you. It is a fantastic read, and it is by, of course, the fabulous Tom Taylor. Here is the dust jacket for it, Batman the Detective. And here's what the spine looks like. Oh. And the back. And it's pretty much the same underneath. But as you can see with Big Ben in the back, Batman is not lured, but Batman is, let me start at the beginning. Batman's feeling old. This is current continuity because he's without Alfred. Wayne Manor's feeling very empty to him. Catwoman's nowhere to be found in this book, so he's older, feeling old, and feeling the pain a little bit more than he has in the past. So that's what the setup is. And somebody is killing hundreds of people at a time. Here's some of the art by Andy Kubert and Sandra Hope. They dress up as white-skinned or white-colored bat costumes, and the criminal behind this is called Equilibrium. And Batman is called onto the scene as they leave clues pointing out that Batman has something to do with the crimes, and they're killing hundreds, and then eventually it reaches into the thousands of people they are killing, and it's up to Batman to try to solve it. Then Tom Taylor leans into this detective part really well. Here's what the gang looks like right there, and they are all about killing people. Batman has to figure out their motive, has to figure out where they're striking next, and he meets up with Henri Descartes, who trained Bruce Wayne back when Bruce was a teenager in the art of finding someone, tracking them down, becoming a master tracker. And Henri is in this. Batman also uses his Batman Incorporated International ties to Knight and Squire in England. And you get the feeling Batman, normally a solo act, with the exception of, Robin, all the various Robins, but now he's a solo act, doesn't like to ask for help. He gets a little dose of humility here where he realizes he does need help. And I think that's an important aspect of this book, where we see character growth throughout the book for Batman. Squire reminds me of here's Squire here visiting Knight in the hospital. She reminds me of Carrie from Dark Knight Returns, spunky, well-trained, and ready to kick ass. Batman, there's a lot of Bruce Wayne in this too, which I think is interesting. There's a lot of Batman relying on a network of informants throughout the world to help him try to track down these killers before they strike again. And I'm not going to tell you what the motive is, because that would spoil it and give away too much. But once the motive becomes clear, once he figures things out and uses his detective skills, it's a race to stop the next killing. As for someone, I've said in the past that any writer is going to lend their voice to Batman as it's written. So Grant Morrison's Batman, Garth Ennis's Batman, Tom King's Batman, they're all going to be a little different and have all their nuances. And that's good. That's what keeps us interested in reading and continuing to read. He'd be a one-note character if he was only written one way. But the touches in this book about his detective work are amazing. They are just really well thought out. and his resources are just fantastic. And Batman has always been, certainly in the modern era, someone who is thinking ahead, 4 or 5 steps ahead of what the next move of the criminal might be. And this is sort of like the Bat God that Grant Morrison originated, but he's very organized, meticulous, and knows his stuff. But as I said, he does get a little dose of humility from Henri Ducard, who says that you need to trust in your friends and use them more. So this book is one of my top books of the year. Tom Taylor, of course, has not let me down yet. I don't think he ever has let me down. But the reason I'm really recommending this is because of Tom Taylor's voice in Batman that makes it unique, and they're humanizing him a little bit, but as he does after he's humanized, he uses it to his advantage, of course, because it's Batman. And I won't spoil anything more by telling you who Equilibrium is, what Equilibrium's story is, what motivates Equilibrium. That's for you to discover. But I can assure you, this book is one of the better Batman books that have come across in the past few years. It's a standalone book, so you don't need to read Future State or anything. It's a complete standalone book that if you had been informed of what happened in Tom King's Batman run, you'll be fine with this. And even if this is your first Batman book, you'll be fine. This is a brilliant standalone story. I love it. 5 out of 5 stars. It's going to be in my top 10 for this year. If it's getting bumped out, I can't wait to see what bumps it out. But I highly recommend everybody read this book. Really get into it and enjoy Tom Taylor's remarkable voice in Batman as he struggles with his getting older, and he struggles with the concept of, has he done more harm than good possibly? And he needs to dig deep within himself to figure that out, with help from Knight and Squire and some other very interesting people. So please go to Organic Prize Books to get this book, where you can use my code OmniDog to get $2 off. And then the big savings, really 5% off when you're shipping 3 or more books together with the code OmniDog. Ship it together. So peace and love, peace and love. Thank you for watching this. I really appreciate all of you who tune in to watch these things. It means everything to me, and I really am grateful. Please like, subscribe, and feel free to leave a comment. And I think you're really going to enjoy Batman the Detective. Peace and love.